Thank you for the opportunity presenting GoGold. I'll tell you, this is the first time we've been at this conference, and one of the things I find so impressive is there's actually an audience. I mean, we're going to all the gold conferences in the world right now telling about the GoGold story, and I can tell you there's nobody there. We're a company that we have a lot of experience in the country of Mexico. I worked most of my career there. I've been plus 30 years in the mining business. And there's so many great speakers here, and they're talking about the macro. Well, one thing you won't hear from me is about the macro, because I'm not an expert on the macro. What we are experts are on building mines, getting financing to do that. And I guess if I'd make one comment on the macro in this business after plus 30 some years of being in it, it's very cyclical, as you all know. And you know, we're definitely, I feel, at the bottom of a cycle, and which offers great opportunities, not just in the physical. I mean, I own a lot of physical personally for the physical metal, but really in the developers and the small producers, we really move when the market turns up. And we are a company that it's not the first time we've done this. Over these plus 30 years, I started with Gammon and literally in my garage. We took that from $0 to $2 billion. We trade on New York and Toronto. And MexGold, another company, where we've done what we've typically done in Mexico. We deal with a lot of the private families who have mines. For example, in MexGold, we bought that asset for $20 million. Sold it 2 years later for $375 million. And it operated in Orico for another 7 years and was sold for $250 million to Endeavour Silver, and I think they've now sold it to somebody else. Still going. Nayarit, that's a small deal that we did. We found a small deposit, and we sold it in 2010 to Capital Gold. And then we have GoGold, which is what we've been working on now for over a decade. To do all that and to build those 4 mines and those companies, you need capital. I mean, this is, as you all know, a very capital-intense business. And if you want to have success, you have to be able to access that capital. You have to have strong technical team, and we do. Many members of our senior technical team have been with me in these companies now for over 20 years. But on the capital front, we're heavily institutionally held. And you'd recognize some of those names there and many, many more. We'd be about 50% institutional. And I mean, that's very good. I'd say the negative is that at times like this at the bottom of the cycle, those institutions are just getting redemptions. And you know, they sell the stock. When it turns and they're getting inflows, they're there. And we're a name they all know. We're a name they all own. And they'll start pouring those inflows back into us. And that's the opportunity in a GoGold. The opportunity is we raised, and we have $100 million US cash in the bank, no debt. And we raised that money at a lot higher prices. The last financing was at $2.25. We're about $1.20 today. For no other reason than cycle. And that these institutions just are not buying right now. But for the retail investor, and if they have cash, and maybe they're getting out of the general market some, maybe they're feeling that the general market has topped, what an opportunity. Companies like a GoGold, I believe, obviously, I guess I'm a little biased, I'm the CEO and I'm third largest shareholder, but companies like GoGold, I believe, have some of the best leverage to the upturn in the next cycle. Because we are so well financed that we don't have to slow down. We're moving our projects from exploration, where we started. Our main asset we acquired in March of 2019, Los Ricos project. It's a project that we started putting the first drill holes in. We had 11 drill rigs running. And if you look at, there's some sites that publish the best drill holes, and we had some of the best drill holes over the last 4+ years. Drilled 250,000 meters. and ended up with about 280 million silver equivalent ounces. But you need the capital to do that, and we've always been good at raising the capital. We have over my career, I've raised about $1.5 billion of equity for these companies, and we've done several $100 million of debt deals when we're building them. But again, GoGold in Mexico, what we've done is what we typically do. We access through our network in Mexico, over 27 years there, we access these projects that many others, they don't recognize. Like, for example, in GoGold, we bought Santa Gratuitous. The project was underloved. We bought it for $9 million, put $11 million into it. Then a couple years later, we sold it to Agnico for $95 million US. But really the driver of the company, and we are an operator as well. We do operate a project, the Parral project. It's a unique project where we take old mine waste, and that's been laid down in the middle of a city over about 300 years. And we take that mine waste and we process it, and we put it into a 21st century environmental sound state, just as you would have in Canada, US, and Europe. And that project has been going for 9 years now. It generates some cash flow for us, and it has another 6 years of reserves. But really the driver of the company is our Los Ricos project. That's what's gonna add the value from here. And Los Ricos is near to the city of Guadalajara, which is the third largest city in Mexico. You land there, you're an hour and 45-minute drive to the Los Ricos project. It's really a group of claims that are divided into two areas, Los Ricos South and Los Ricos North. As I mentioned, we got in there in March 2019. We bought it for $7.5 million from private owners. And we've invested in 250,000 meters of drilling and numerous resource studies and economic studies. And we started in Los Ricos South, and then we moved to Los Ricos North. In both of those, we've completed large resources, drilled off large resources. We've established economic studies at the PEA level. And in Los Ricos South now we're moving to final feasibility, which we expect to have done by April. And we applied for a permit last year in April. And we really feel we'll have that permit by the middle of next year, and we'll start construction. And what's that look like in Los Ricos South? This part, some of the highlights: 458 million NPV, 5% discount, 37% IRR, 11 years of mining, and 47 million ounces of silver and about 500,000 of gold recovered, or about 8 million silver equivalent ounces a year. And we are primarily a silver company. We produce now in our Parral project, mostly silver, but we're about 60% silver here and about 40% gold by value. Many people feel that the silver companies get a better multiple in the good times, and that maybe silver has a bit more of a runway ahead of it than gold, and I'd probably be in agreement with that. But $148 million capital to build this. We have $99 million in the bank, and we have lenders, most private equity lenders, some banks who are really competing to get that piece of debt. And the thing is that if you look at the space right now and you look at the junior developers, the lenders, we were in the Denver Gold Show just in September, and they'll tell you that, look, we want to finance these projects, but none of them can get their equity in this market. I mean, the window is shut. It's just not available, the equity. So we're very, very fortunate that we have a lot of cash in the bank. And this will produce at a real low cost. All in sustaining for a silver equivalent ounce, about $9. So we look at that, and it's going to be underground and open pit. And many of you know that open pit at this time in Mexico is a little bit tough. I think that'll change. But all of these deposits can be mined underground. In fact, this deposit starts as an underground mine, and then it transitions to an open pit. Or if we don't have a permit in 5 years from now, when we'll need it for the open pit, we just continue mining the underground up to surface. So I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. There's the underground development in the first couple of years. And that's, of course, why you need all this capital. They're very capital-intense projects. So we continue underground mining. We have this all planned. I mean, we have a PEA, but it's a very high-level PEA. It's pretty much a pre-feasibility, except we need some more geotechnical work. Anyway, that all comes together over the next 11 years, and we mine out Los Ricos South. And we have a lot of exploration potential remaining in Los Ricos South and in the whole district. In fact, we didn't stop drilling because we weren't finding more gold and silver. I think at 280 million ounces, we think we're just getting started. But the market dictates somewhat what we do, because we were putting out drill holes like 55 meters of 2.7 kilos per ton silver, and the stock moved a penny. Because our market, our institutional investors, were saying to us, well, we just want to know what it all means. We want you to see it in economic studies. How easy is it going to be to build these mines? How much are they going to cost? How much are they going to make? What kind of cash flow? So we have transitioned to that, and we'll get back to exploration again in the future once we're cash flowing here. And I'm sure this is a district that will be generational. So we also have our Los Ricos North. And in Los Ricos North, that's the project has $413 million of NPV. So together, almost $870 million of NPV. And if you put it all together and you look at Los Ricos South and Los Ricos North, really, we have a clear line of sight here, building these two projects. It's all organic in-house. Where Los Ricos South, we look at building that and starting to build that in 2024. It's an 18-month build, and it starts generating 8 million ounces of silver equivalent a year at a cost below $9. Now, Los Ricos North, it'll produce a little bit more, about 8.8 million ounces a year at a cost under $10 an ounce, silver equivalent. So you put those all together, and we have a clear line of sight to being a silver producer that's plus 15 million ounces a year at under $10 all-in sustaining cost. So extremely good projects. So I guess what I would say is that in this market, and everybody's here wanting to listen to the macro, and I find it very, very interesting. Again, I'd state that really a GoGold, what we're real experts at are building the mines. We're experts at finding the ounces. We've been doing that for a long time in Mexico. We're very country specific, very country focused, and we have the cash. I mean, that's a limited asset for junior developers right now, the cash, and we have about $100 million US of cash. And I guess again I would say, what an opportunity this market is. If you're the people who are sitting there and you have free cash, maybe you've made cash in the general market, and you feel that it's time to pivot some of that cash into a very depressed market, the junior developers. But again, if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you're picking the right ones. And again, I would put forward that GoGold is a company that has strong projects that are near-term production. We have the cash to do it. We've done it before. We know the country so well. We've been there. I've been there my whole career. We built 4 mines. We are a producer. We do have an operations team already. We are a company that traded as high as $385 in the last 18 months. And with this cycle of the market, we're trading at $1.20, and all of our money was raised at much, much higher levels. We don't need any more equity. We have lots of debt providers who are ready to give us a debt portion so we get these projects built. And we have the we believe, and I believe, we're one of the best companies out there with our institutional following, with our retail following, with the fact that the CEO is standing here before you, and I'm the third largest shareholder of the company. So I think I'm fairly well aligned with the shareholders. And our board, our big shareholders, we were all buying stock last month. So I believe we're at the bottom of the cycle. And if you're going to take a bet on a junior developer, GoGold, I believe, is one of the best bets in the market. So with that, I'll open it to any questions anybody might have.
So everything is clear about GoGold?
Sorry, pardon me?
Everything is clear and everything is understood about the company GoGold Resources?
Well, I don't think anybody really wants me to talk much about feasibility studies and paste backfill and long-hole mining, very technical, but I think I'd make the case for GoGold. One other thing I should mention, this is, I believe, one of the most opportune times to come in. Because the other thing that's hitting the junior developers, explorers in Canada is that right now we're in tax loss selling season. So in Canada, if you own a stock and you have a loss on it, you can sell it. You have to stay out of the stock for 30 days. And the last day for tax loss selling in Canada, I think, is around the 21st, 22nd of December. So all the Canadian trading companies are very depressed in the bottom of a cycle. And again, in my career, I've been through many cycles. For me, the sentiment, and it's not the metal price. The metal price is very good. I mean, we're getting paid great money for the metal we produce, and we want to be producing a lot more over the next couple of years. But what's really changed is the sentiment. And like I said, we're heavily institutionally held, and they're not getting inflows, and they're not buyers. So everything is kind of the perfect storm for being the bottom of the cycle. But I do know from past experience, you see that when this cycle turns, it turns so quickly. And if you're not there, you miss the uptick. And I really believe there's an enormous uptick in the good junior developers over the next year. Great. Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much, Brad. You're still at the booth for the rest of the show?